Okay, so yeah, Ryan, you
Yeah,
can
so
start with the
the
updates.
the first thing we wanted to say and almost get feedback on from people was when it comes to blood. I know there's been a lot of talk, especially since the Vampresses and when the Devouring of Bats is going to come, which is going to be put out in an update soon because that's separate, the Devouring of Bats. But more on the blood ecosystem in general, we wanted to get some feedback on some improvements that we might want to be implementing because I know there was a question on the AMA last week as well, quite near to the end, saying that the way that we've done staking at the minute is almost problematic for the future because the staking contract. Like the blood generation contract's been out since October, and it's pretty straightforward in that vamps get 3 blood a day, and then bats get one, and that's quite limiting going forward, especially, for example, if we wanted to give Vampress's blood, we just couldn't do that because of the way that it's set up. And he was saying as well, the way with implementation into games and metaverses and things like that, with the vamps not being in the wallet, that is problematic as well. So one thing we did want to have some feedback on is if we were to do a whole blood overhaul and revamp on exactly what people would want to see from that. I know a lot of people want to see passive staking, for example, which has obviously its benefits and drawbacks because then the vamps are in your wallet, they'll be being showed off, they're on your OpenSea, you can use them within the games, the hold account on OpenSea will be correct as well if we went to a more passive staking model, so that would be where every vamp or every bat, and then it would even be possible if we did want to give vampresses, I know we've always said that with the way it wasn't going, that they wouldn't be getting it, but just what people think in general about if we went to passive staking or a new system like that. Whether people could provide liquidity for bonuses, maybe different rares would get more blood a day, maybe golds could get more blood that way. Um, or maybe there could even be an option where you can earn blood passively by not staking, but then if you do stake the vamp, you're getting bonuses as well. So if you are going to provide that, if you are going to stake, you could be getting more blood. If you know that you're going to be holding your vamps long term, you might want to stake them if that was going to give bonuses. So really, we just wanted to see what people's feedback would be on an overhaul of the blood system. I know we haven't really given much details there. I've just been throwing thoughts about of what could happen with there being bonuses, people providing liquidity. Just what people would want to see from, if blood was redone from the ground up, what people would want to see on that. So if you could head over to community suggestions, if you have any ideas on that, on if you really wouldn't want us to go to passive staking, if you really like it the way it is now, or just what people's general thoughts are, because we're going to be putting a plan together over the next few days and then come back with a more solid, because we've got our ideas on our end of how we see it panning out, but we just wanted to see people's thoughts on whether they would even want there to be a blood overhaul, what they would want to see from it. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on it, you can message any of us or head over to community suggestions, and we'll be putting something together over the next few days and then sharing it with everyone before anything happens, um, and just see what people think before we actually were to make any changes to the blood system.
Damn, that was very bullish. Thank you, Rion. So I think um, obviously we can't give a full detailed breakdown yet. So that is just something that we are going to be working towards and putting out. It's going to be in the form of a probably a Medium article, right, Rion? So
Yeah, so
we'll have
we do want to put something
yeah,
forward where it's going to be straightforward, where it's not going to be my suggestion there was, there wasn't really any details, but we are going to put something forward where it would be exactly how it would be in more of like a bullet point, how the bonuses would happen, and then people can always provide feedback on that as well before we moved forward with it.
yep. So essentially that's it. So we're just going to get some feedback, and then we'll discuss internally with what we think is best, and then we'll put a proper update for everyone in how we think is the best way to move forward with this. Okay, so next update is regarding the 3D models and the sandbox layer. This is something that we've seen pop up quite a bit and been asked a decent amount. So we thought that we would just give it a brief overview. essentially both the 3D models and the sandbox layer are being worked on, and we are just discussing the finer details with the relevant people who are working on it, you know. So obviously they're completely different people. We have professionals who are best at their craft in doing this. So for the 3D models, we are actively talking with the artists who are, progressing with it, and trying to make them as best as possible um, for you guys. So especially with the Sandbox there, we are SVS, our premium partners with Sandbox. We have been from the very start, and we have a 3x3 estate in there, and we are trying to get the best version of the layer that we can get out there right now. So obviously that one is a little bit more difficult, a little bit more hands-on and intense. We speak with the professional builders, and then kind of have an idea and trying to bring that idea to life when it comes to actual sandbox and the layer and the metaverse for you guys. So I think that's it for that one, Rion.
Yep, the next one was just on the blood bank. In case people missed it this week, we put out an announcement, a Medium article, and made a new channel in the Discord called Final Proposals. It's just under announcements. Just a quick lowdown if you didn't read the article is that you'll be able to, well, you can now. So if you head to our DAO website, you're able to make proposals. Anyone can now make a proposal as long as you have one SVS, and that's a vampire, a vampiress, or a bat. So you can create any proposals you want on there, and you'll be able to vote on them. So if you see proposals that people have made that you like the sound of, vote on them, and we'll be looking through them. And then every time that there's a proposal that gets some traction and people seem to like the idea of it, we're going to look through it as a team, and then we will repost it as an official proposal, where obviously we'll then put out and at everyone in this final proposals channel with exactly what the proposal is, how long the vote's open, and what will happen if that proposal passes. And then that will be how the blood bank funds will be spent. So feel free to be putting proposals out there. We also made a new chat just under the layer chat called proposal discussion. So be sure to talk in there as well with how you think some of the blood bank funds should be spent. If you think there are particular celebrities or influencers, or you want to make a donation, or just anything in general on how you think those funds should be spent, feel free to discuss them and then make a proposal. And then obviously those that do get the traction, we will add to them ourselves amongst the team and then repost them as a final proposal. So the first final proposal is up now, which is the one that we said from before the Vampirist Mint, which is a charitable donation. So there's been quite a lot of votes on that so far, and that's still open until next week. It ends on the 14th of March. So if you haven't voted on which charity you think we should make the donation to, be sure to head over to the proposal from the final proposals channel and make your vote.
That's pretty much it on that front. So something else that we want to continue on and just give a brief overview on is the Dash and the auction and Dutch auction. Essentially when the Dash is done and finished, the blood auctions and Dutch auctions and things like that will all be on the Dash when it's released. So we're working on finishing that up as soon as possible, and then as soon as it's all good to go and everything's working nice and smooth, and with no issues at all, hopefully, open bracket Freddy, close bracket Freddy. So if that's all good to go, and then we'll push that out as soon as possible, and then we obviously will give you guys a proper detailed update about how things work in regards to that, and how we plan to continue developing blood and the other things going forward. So I think you guys know we do these AMAs every single week, so sometimes it can be uh, a little bit difficult to actually have consistent updates for you guys weekly, but we do our best, and we are working on this full time every day, and we try our best to push out enough work each week that we actually have enough to update you guys on as well each Wednesday during our AMA, right? So that's the updates from me and Ryan so far, and then the next thing we want to touch on is T is going to speak briefly about the merch.
Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, that dashboard is actually really insane. So it takes a lot to integrate that. So, hopefully Freddie does not mess that up. Pretty excited to see that, get rolled out. But sort of speaking on merch, you guys saw yesterday that we teased the Vampire designs. Those are merch designs that we had, done specifically for the vampiresses. And the next merch, drop that we, do participate in, it's gonna be for the vampiresses. I guess a big thing that, I've sort of been saying, especially, since Gen 1, with the merch is, we could obviously be doing a lot better in terms of quality and just, fulfillment and things like that. So that's what we're sort of taking on with the new merch. So rather than having, in stock 24/7, we're going to be doing, planned drops, whether that be one or two, each quarter, but that just means that we're going to be able to put a lot more attention towards the creative end of things and also the quality. So just look forward to that, and there's definitely going to be more info released. And Blood Bank, it's definitely super exciting to see the community have more of a direct input now. So excited to see how, everyone decides to use those funds. But if there is, something you guys need help with or for a certain proposal, feel free to, reach out and then I can sort of provide, my opinion. So yeah, guys. Yeah, that's uh that's pretty much it. But yeah, super excited for what's to come.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you, T. Sorry, caught
did
me
he
mid yawn there.
did he bore
As
you?
it, yeah, mid yawn there, as it is slightly late for 2D. So, okay, guys. So, next thing up on the agenda, some of the newer guys, we do this thing called Slido, which is basically a platform for questions where people can open bracket extremely conveniently close bracket submit questions anonymously. This is the best part of my day, honestly, reading all the anonymous suggestions from all the anonymous amazing SVS holders. Okay, so the first question, maybe Rion can read
Uh,
it to me.
yeah, this is the most upvoted one from this week, I think, which is when can we expect some news on what you will be doing next?
So apparently, I think this guy can read the future because it's 18. We've been live on the AMA for about 17 minutes, and the last 17 minutes have answered exactly that question. So essentially, everything that we just spoke about with the updates is what we will be doing next and what we're continuing to work on. With the brief overview, would be currently on the top priority is the blood revamp and how we're planning to finalize all of that. So the stuff that Ryan, touched over, and then the stuff that I touched over, the 3D models, the sandbox layer. So these are the kind of like the main things that we're. Oh, I'm sorry, Crisis. I mean, Rion. So essentially, the blood revamp is of the utmost importance right now. And that takes all of this, that's like the main priority right now. And then the next one besides that would be finishing up the dash and the auction, the Dutch auction. So, hopefully Freddie gets that out ASAP and, everything's all good on that end. And then that's essentially, hopefully that answers the question. That's kind of like a little brief overview of what's coming. Because essentially we just went into so much detail over that over the last 15 minutes. So, Mr. Anonymous, who asked that question 1 hour ago, if you want to listen to the AMA, you can catch the YouTube clip, I guess. So, I think Rion, I'll ask you a question next.
Yep.
Hey, um, the team seems to continue making excuses for poor performance while other collections are doing great. Full stop. Ones that released before and after SVS.
Um, yes, Mr. Anonymous. I think I was actually speaking to quite a few people about this yesterday as well, because someone said something similar on, exactly maybe the SPS floor dipping or being stagnant or something like that, and how really I just said to them that there's so many projects releasing nowadays. There's almost 3 a day, because people have even said, we're pushing out so much in the alpha channels, of whitelist opportunities, that at the minute, it really does pay to be more liquid in your NFTs. Obviously, a lot of people hold some of the more blue chip NFTs like the Bored Apes and Cool Cats. People see them as like really solid investments, and they're going to hold them long term. But then when it comes to the lower floored ones, people really do pay to be. It does pay to be liquid. You can mint a new project for 0.1 ETH, and the floor will instantly be 1 ETH. So you're going to 10 times your money, which is just not something that's going to happen overnight with SVS, or any established project as that stands. There's not going to be, it would be insane if the floor jumped 10-20% overnight, but when it comes to minting new NFTs, you can quite easily do that by staying liquid. So that's one thing really that people have been saying, but really it comes down to the long term of the project. These ones that mint out, I could quite easily do invite competitions, get a Discord of 100,000 people, and mint out a 10,000 collection. That from idea to execution, that'll probably take 2 weeks, and that's what a lot of these projects are doing. It's super easy to mint out a project and get false hype, but then they don't actually execute on anything. And I'm sure anyone listening to this AMA is a big SVS supporter, and they've seen what we've done since we released 6 months ago. So it's quite when some people are saying, that they're looking a lot more short term, and we've always said, we're not going to be looking at the floor price and then pump out an announcement just because it dips like 0.05 ETH overnight. That's not sustainable for the long term, and we're not going to announce something before it's ready just because of price action or something like that. So yeah, really we've got a lot in the pipeline, as we always have, and some things take time. So obviously SVS is a very more long-term mindset to us, and we're just going to continue to build and execute on our plans, and then everything else will follow from there.
Yes, great answer, Rio. So guys, we're going to go through a couple more Slido questions. Just the same process. So if you do want to speak to us, anything you want to say, maybe you want 2D Vamp to say bullish in your ear, just get your hands up and then we'll get to it as soon as we can. So next question, please, Rayon.
The next one is, please do not allow the Vampresses into alpha. It's already ridiculously hard to gain whitelist from it, and most people hardly win anything or at all as it is. Please don't further dilute this.
Yeah, so with the Vampresses and alpha, this is a concern that we've seen in the layer very often on Twitter and DMs, replies, stuff like that. So essentially an easy way to say this is that as of right now, we don't really have any plans of including them in alpha because it is a little bit difficult. I understand how hard it is to win whitelist with the amount of slots that some of these projects give us. So yes, Freddie, someone is joking me. It is called My Lungs. So essentially, yes. So we don't really plan to have anything to do with adding the Vampresses to alpha right now. This doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to add stuff to the Vampresses and stuff like that. So there's no stress about stuff like that. And then when you guys see the new update with the Blood Revamp, then you guys will see what's going on with the Vampresses and what we have coming. Freddie is in fact not sitting on me, and I am in fact not moaning, sir. Okay, so T, I have a question for T next.
I believe no one said that but you. No one called out.
No, I have eyes on the chat at all times, Josh. They can never escape me. Look at all these emojis in here. Okay, question for T. What are the plans to attract more influential people Jesus, over as well as big whales that will make the project more well known to everybody? Question mark.
Yeah, that's a good question. So what Ryan was saying earlier was, with how projects coming up left and right, it's it's pretty easy to launch something and sell out, and people don't really do their due diligence now. And now it's sort of starting to catch on, which is a good thing. But what I think it's going to happen with SVS specifically is that as we continue to build and follow through with our promises and go through the roadmap, people are sort of going to see that the projects that are kind of not delivering, they're going to start falling, and only the projects that are still building and still growing are the ones that are going to be standing. So when that time comes and people do see SVS is still out here, we're still building, we're still pushing, we're still doing things differently. I feel like that's when people are really going to start to latch on and really understand that like this is a project that we need to get into. And we see it happen all the time, like in the NFT space, like things don't necessarily pop off at first. And then they get really popular afterwards. Or it's just unconventional reasons that it happens. It doesn't mean that they have a utility or there's a reason behind it. It's just the market. So when that time does come and things sort of calm down a little bit, I feel like that's when we're gonna start getting that attention, get those on board.
Okay, the next question. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought T got drugged for a second. But yes, let's continue to the next question.
the next one is keep building and doing what you're doing. The market is full of people obsessed with short-term metrics when the long-term ones are what apply to SVS. When are we eating bats?
So thank you for the kind words, Mr. Anonymous. I think that was Anonymous, wasn't it? Let's see. Yes. A
Yeah.
nice, kind message from Mr. Anonymous for once. This is really refreshing to see. So Mr. Anonymous has taken a turn from all the questions he has asked. So thank you so much for, the kind words and kind of backing what we're doing, keep building and doing what you're doing. We actively are trying to, push out as much updates as we can when it comes to SVS and things like that, Essentially, this is just, it's just how it's been, right? We've been around for 6-7 months now. We work every day on SVS. I think the only time really any of us took some time off was around Christmas or New Year's. So, it really is comforting to see some people in the market and in the community appreciate the effort that we do. We obviously try to keep things as innovative as possible, try to keep things as fresh as possible and push out as much things as we can for you guys that is new and exciting, right? Ignace, I am blinking, but I am not kidnapped by Freddy. So, yes, Olivia 2 Crisis. So essentially, this is just what it's like, right? We push out things at an insane pace when you look at how much we've done since we have launched Gen 1, and we're continuously trying to push out as much things as we can from here, There's no intention of slowing down. There's no intention of changing anything. It's just about pushing as much as we can out and continue to grow SVS to as big of a brand as possible, right? The idea is to bridge SVS to real life companies, real life brands, as well as other crypto brands and crypto companies, when we think about what we've done with Scream, Paramount Pictures, and things like that. So it's just good to see that that effort is recognized. So we do want to thank you guys. And obviously the most important part of this question is when we eating the bats. So this is going to come later on when we do the full announcement. We'll put down a full breakdown of how these things come. But I think on the fact of like what we are doing in this space and stuff like that, I think T maybe has a little bit of words that can add on to what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure how many people actually tuned into the Bloodline segment that we do every Friday with the Alpha team. This last Friday we actually had Voltura from Psychedelics Anonymous on. And we kind of talked about what's going on now and and how I'm referring to the market, right? But it's referring to everything, right? Even the world, because there's so much that's going on in the world, that's impacting the market, and it's impacting how people in the space feel about NFTs and sort of where we're at, right? And it's kind of important to realize that we're still the same people, the same team. This is still the same brand, the same project that it was back in December, back in October, November. Back then we're still the same people. There's nothing that's happened since then, or there's nothing that's changed in between then. That's we've done something to lose trust, or lose our effectiveness as a team. It's we've still been pushing. It's just the times, the uncertainty in the world. So it's just important to acknowledge that, and really realize that we haven't done anything to raise any red flags, or change your perception about us, right? Um, so it's just just important to look at it, right? Yeah.
You. Thank you so much, T. Open bracket, no coffee, close bracket. So we'll do like 2 or 3 more questions, guys. Essentially, there's only one hand raised. We understand. We do these AMAs every single week. So if look, another hand raised. So essentially, we'll do 2 or 3 more Slido questions, and then we'll close that out, and then we'll just do like a couple of questions from the community, and then we'll just close out the AMA there. So a question for Rion. For Gen 1 plus Gen 2 perfect pair, and a bat does this further enhance blood rewards after the ceremony, / can you tell us what the end result will be on the blood pact? Yeah, this sentence was constructed absolutely horribly, I must say.
Yeah, so the blood pact is still a bit down the line yet, so we obviously don't have anything finalized when it comes to being able to tell people what the result will be, unfortunately, or things like that. But coming back to the perfect pair in the Gen 1 and Gen 2, so we wanted to bring out the perfect pair before the Gen 2 mint, just so people had almost a choice to make. Because I have seen a lot in the chat as well, so it's good to clarify on exactly what the perfect pair is. But it's not that the perfect pair will give access to anything that other people won't be able to get access to. So people who have sold their perfect pair or don't have a perfect pair, that is perfectly fine, and you're still going to be able to partake in the blood pact exactly the same as anyone else. The only thing when it comes to the perfect pair, obviously, is that you're going to get the 50% blood discount. So, for example, if it did cost 100 blood to perform the ritual, it will only be 50 blood. So obviously the benefit is there for people who have held a perfect pair, but that's not to mean that anyone who doesn't have one is going to get anything different. And then there's also going to be the 50% cooldown decrease, so you're going to be able to perform the blood pact more than once. But obviously there'll be a cooldown between when you're able to do that. However, if it is a perfect pair, then that will be lowered by 50%. So that, again, these two perfect pair perks are exactly that. They're just perks, so it's not that anyone else will be missing out. It's just that it's almost useful that if you are using a perfect pair, you're going to be getting those benefits. And then when it comes to the bat as well, that will be, as we've always said all along, that you'll be able to involve a bat in the blood pact to be able to get an increased trait carryover. So exactly what that means will come closer to the time, because again, it is a bit early to divulge details like that. But essentially, you are going to be able to bring bats into the mix to be able to increase the percentage carryover. So you best keep the bats away from the vampresses though before they devour them, before the blood pact happens.
Doobie devouring, doobie. So I think next, how many of you guys want to hear the voice of our developer,
Oh, Freddie's
Freddy?
speaking.
Yes, I think we have a question for Freddy for everyone, don't we, Rion?
Oh,
Yep.
how exciting.
Two of the Gen 1 vamps I sold are still showing on my SVS dash. Just asking if you're aware of this. The staking page does show it correctly though, it's just on the collection tab.
Yeah, we are aware that is an issue when I push the vampiresses and pixel lamps to the dash. I switched to a new API that has a bit of issues, so I'll just fix that today. Yeah.
Blame Freddy.
Is that very nice?
Andy. I agree.
What a guy.
Okay, I think
Sorry.
that's a good time for the last Slido question though. I see there's a few hands up. Is I love 2D Vamp and still blame Freddy. Bullish. And that's
Bullish.
Yeah.
So this
Come on, man.
question just made it in because, well, it's about me. So I love you too, Wallish. Big shout out,
Oh, it wasn't
Wallish. But we do not
anonymous
blame. Yeah. But we do not blame Freddy anymore. Freddy has done great for SVS. Freddy is from Sweden, Denmark. Damn, man's doxing. Okay, cool. So there's 2 hands up. It's not really a problem. If any of you guys want to talk a bit more, you don't necessarily have to have a question if you just want to chit chat, say a couple things. If not, we'll go through the hands up, give some buffer time to see if anyone else gets their hands up, and then we'll just end the AMA from there. Oh, look, now there's 1 hand up instead. Looks like someone doesn't want to hear my voice today. Oh no, that's because you brought him up. Never mind, I apologize.
It's Juliana or maybe Juliana, who knows?
Oh, Giuliano, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Hi. Good, good. Hey, my question was, so is it possible to use Polygon copies of the VAMs to stake and unstake? I'm just thinking, like, I stake and unstake a lot just because I like to move my wallets around, but the gas fees are killing me. I'm sure everyone else has the same problem, and then we got to pay Ethereum gas to bridge the blood to Matic. Is it possible to use the Polygon copies to stake on Polygon and therefore avoid all these gas fees?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Unfortunately not, since the Polygon copies are just like a mirror of the Ethereum. So it doesn't go the other way around. But this is why we want to try and sort of revamp the whole staking system. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, please do drop them.
Yeah, okay, no worries. Thank you.
Yeah, because I think if we were going to do it that way, we could also, as we mentioned earlier, maybe do the passive staking where you wouldn't need to stake your tokens at all. You'd just be getting it daily. I know there are benefits and drawbacks to that because I almost like the active staking where you have to commit that you're going to be, staking. Not that we like people paying the gas fees because they are way too high, but there's almost a commitment aspect there to the staking to be able to get your blood. So that's why we are a bit thinking about whether if the blood did go to passive, where everyone would just get it anyway, what people would think of that on, because obviously it is better and it's got its benefits that you can move your assets about, they'll be shown in OpenSea. But then obviously the blood generation daily would be a lot higher as well. So there are definitely benefits and drawbacks of both, which is why we did want to get community feedback if people do have suggestions on how they feel about it before we did actually go ahead with the blood revamp.
Yeah, right. So there's no way to alter the staking system. So instead of using Ethereum, it uses Polygon, and then we can just stake normally, but it'll go through Polygon. Is that right?
Yeah, unfortunately not at the moment.
Yeah, okay. No worries. Thanks.
Alright.
Come on now, Mars. Gotta watch that language in the lair. Come on now. Nice vamp. Vampirus. Nah, I'm playing. Fuck. It's pretty close to Freddy's favorite word. Do you guys know what Freddy's favorite word is? It's fucka. Okay, anyway. So we have Nico. Hello, Nico.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, what's up,
Yes,
man?
loud and clear.
All right, great. You guys are so likable. So it makes me want to invest more in the job. You guys are doing a great job. So I was just answering another call, so that's why I'm a little disheveled. So yeah, I wanted to ask, are you guys going to have any presence in the downtown LA NFT convention on the 28th of this month? And then I had a second question as well.
Maybe T. This one's more up your alley.
Yeah. So for LA, the issue with LA is actually there are like a couple of conventions coming up. There's like the one at the end of this month. and then there's like one in a couple more months, and the one that's coming up is actually, I think it's going to kind of interfere with NFT NYC. So we kind of got a little confused there. So we're not going to have one for LA. I do think that myself and a couple of vamps might be going like on an unofficial type thing. But that will be kind of closer if that does happen. But and I think NYC is definitely going to be our focus. But live events and sort of IRL stuff is definitely something that we do want to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm in LA, so I was going to be stopping by there. Okay, and then my question that I really wanted to ask was, so I really like the idea of the perfect pair. I have two, and I love my males. My females are floors, and they're kind of hideous. I would never own them if it wasn't for the perfect pair. But I plan on keeping them forever because I'm going to be keeping my males forever. I like the idea of like hidden benefits that might come out in the future. And from your guys' perspective, it makes sense to reward people holding on to these perfect players for the reason that I just mentioned, because I'm going to be keeping them forever, even though they're ugly and I normally would sell the female vamps. So my question is, I would like to buy more, but they're very hard to find because you basically have to find a female and go from there, as opposed to what I would like to do is be able to find a male that I like and then find the female from there. Is it possible to release some kind of list of all the perfect pairs so that way if I see a floor male vamp, I can easily just cross over and look for the female as well?
Yeah, so I think that when we do deploy the new dashboard and the new gallery page, that will have some sort of system there for you to be able to quickly see which does this vamp have a perfect pair? If so, who is it, right?
Okay, great.
Oh,
And then this is the new staking dashboard that you're talking about, or is this a different one?
no, so the entire, yeah, so right now you know how we have the dashboard where you can go on the website, you can connect your wallet, you can stake, unstake, and you can do everything else, and enter like the blood raffles. We're gonna have a new completely like revamped dashboard that's gonna have a lot more like features and functions
So
on
you
it
can,
than
yeah,
what
you
we
can
have
do
right now.
everything through the dashboard.
Yeah,
Essentially, the new dashboard, you'll be able to do everything, see everything, uh, stuff like that.
yeah.
Nice. And as far as the passive staking, I understood the second time you guys mentioned it. At first, I didn't even understand what you were talking about. But I think that because I had kind of spoken briefly with Ryan through the chat, and the point that I took on was that you guys are not focused on the floor price, just on creating a great product, and the floor price would catch on. I like the idea of maybe doing both and putting a little bit of focus on the floor price as well, in the sense that if you guys did the passive staking, it would make it easier for people to list their vamps as well while they're gaining blood. So I wouldn't vote for that. I like, you stake it and it's gone, and you can't list it for sale at the same time. And that would be my opinion on that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, and probably the one main reason for not passive staking as well. I know because a good thing about the SVS floor right now is there's just so many staked and so little listed, and a lot of people like that fact as well. Oh, we're only 40 vamps away from 1F or something like that. And obviously, if we went to passive staking where there was an influx of vamps and people could list at any moment freely, then that could be a problem that a lot of people wouldn't like. Because, like you said, I quite like the idea as well where to get your blood you have to almost actively put the vamp away, pay the fees, and you are long term on the project where you want to be earning blood and you're happy to stake it. So that is definitely almost the number one question that we do want feedback on, because I do think that passive staking is generally better. With people not having fees, everyone can earn their blood. For integrations into like metaverses and things like that, it does help to have the vamps in your wallet. And then obviously the OpenSea hold account would be correct as well, which I know a lot of people look at when they're going to invest into projects. And with staking, it's almost skews the view, which is why we have the banner on OpenSea. But yeah, there are definitely good things and bad things about the passive staking, which is why it's quite a tricky decision to make, because I know a lot of people will be for the passive, but a lot of people, like you just mentioned yourself, you wouldn't be for that. So it's definitely something that's good to have a discussion on and get people's feedback before we did go ahead with exactly how the Blood revamp's going to work.
I love it. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much. And then as far as the perfect pair, that reward or that gift, is it going to be like a one-time thing, or may you guys do that like every month or two to encourage people to hold on to their perfect pairs, or to be determined?
It's mostly for the blood pact, but there could be something, you know, down the line, you know, when we do get closer to that time, right? 2D.
Yeah, I think the question was uh, whether the perfect pair gift is going to be one off or not, right, Nico?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, so the sneaky snapshot, the one that we said that was going to happen within 4 to 8 weeks from the mint, is going to be just like that particular one is a one-time within that time frame for people who are holding their perfect pairs. But we do plan to do a lot more when it comes to snapshots. Yeah, I think it is quite an interesting thing that, you know, the longer people hold their vamps, you know, we could for example do a snapshot right now of people who have had their vamp since October, you know, who've held for the 6 months. We could do a snapshot of that and give them a gift. So it is definitely something we want to do a lot more of as well, where we might just randomly do snapshots on different occasions and with different parameters. You know, to just be gifting people different things. So in terms of the one that we've said, that's just a one-time thing for the perfect pairs, but we do want to do a lot more when it comes to snapshots as well.
Nice. I'm excited. I'm very excited about the project. So thank you so much for taking my question and for everything you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you.
coming
Yeah, essentially the gifts snapshot is just going to be a one-off, but it's something that we decided internally that we want to keep doing and keep rewarding people who support us as well as long as we can. So yeah, for sure.
No, I got a question. Did you guys ever like get drunk and drink a little real blood to honor what you guys are doing, or is that out of the question?
Maybe Rion is on that way, huh?
No, we haven't, but we should have.
We should maybe.
Come to DTLA.
Oh gosh.
Hey.
You don't really know what Wolf does outside of stream, so
Love it. All right,
I
guys.
wanted to
Yeah,
I
tell me.
actually I kind of wanted to add to the floor price, you know, not worrying about it, right? You kind of, you know, you kind of shouldn't worry about the floor price because it does naturally correlate if the things that we're doing, you know, as a team are, you know, providing value to the project, value to people who are wanting to potentially get in, it's gonna naturally, you know, raise. And the thing behind, you know, the passive staking, not locking it up, it isn't necessarily to be more worried about the floor price. It's more so just for convenience. Because even if we do, you know, make staking passive, make, you know, more on the market, that doesn't mean that, you know, there's going to be more volume. It's volume that drives the price up. So you know what I mean?
But you'll
Um,
get a lot of people undercutting each other. And so I
yeah,
might list at 1 ETH just to be like, hey, if someone wants to pay an ETH, I just paid 0.6. I'll take that 0.4 profit. So I'll list it, and then you get 100 people doing that, and then they start undercutting each other. So it's better to have a thin floor, and then you know, you guys do an AMA with your great personalities, and it makes people bullish, and it'll be much easier for people to start buying it and pop that floor price up, and then other people will start wanting to like FOMO into the project when they start seeing the floor go up, in my
yeah,
opinion.
no, it's true. It's just not the surefire way, right? Like it's not like a guaranteed, you know.
Yes, nothing's
Yeah,
guaranteed, especially with this crazy, you know,
yeah,
crisis going on.
crazy, yeah, everything. So.
But we had some good news today as far as what's going on in Ukraine. So I think it's a great buying opportunity at this moment. Well, anyways,
Uh,
thank
yeah,
you again, guys. I
no
appreciate
worries.
you
Thank
guys
you for all the
taking my call.
questions. No
Yes.
worries. Thank you for the questions.
care.
Yes, so now we have you two. We have 3 more hands up, Leon. So I guess we can breeze through the last 3 and then we can end it for today.
Yeah, I've just invited Spencer up.
Hello, Spencer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes,
How are
we
you?
can.
So, I mean, I've been a holder since day one, and I love everything you guys do. And it seems like you've done like pretty much everything. So, like, that's kind of my question. Like, what else, like, you guys possibly do since you've done like merch, pixelated thingy, and just everything. Gen 2, bats.
Yes. Did the question get cut off or?
Oh yeah, that's my question.
No,
Oh,
that was what can we do?
well, yes, we have pushed out a lot, and we have done a lot, but there is still a lot of things that we can do and that we plan to do overall over the year and other times at SVS, right? So one of the things that we do want to focus on later on this year is kind of similar to what we do at Paramount Pictures, where we try to collab with a real life entity that's of that large of a scale and see what we can do that's pretty cool on that front as well.
And also, like, if I'm not a holder, like, why would you say like I should buy an SVS?
Is this like a very biased if I answer this question, guys? I'm not sure because it's the best project in the world. Yes. But besides that, obviously owning a Gen 1 BAM, you get alpha, you get to be part of the community, you get to interact and experience a lot of the, benefits and bonuses that we have, as well as that we plan to do these real life events later on this year as well. But I think T has more to add to this.
Yeah, I think what it is um you get access to like an OG project for a not so high floor price. Um because especially in this community, a lot of projects, a lot of products and utility that like things offer doesn't get picked up on as valuable like right away, and it takes time. And I think that's like an exact like SBS case, because if a lot more people knew about the team, and they knew about what we are doing and what we have been doing since launch, it would be we would be up there. And it's not just an SBS issue, it's with a lot other projects as well that are similar to launched during that time period, have good teams, have good products. You know it's like an issue with sort of everybody, and that's sort of why all everybody's floor price is a little bit lower. But in terms of what we can do moving forward, it's just delivering on our roadmap, and then also adapting. Because if we just say, hey guys, here's this is the roadmap, this is what we're going to provide, that's not right, because what's hot and what's necessary and what's good, it's always changing, right? Like what's popular. So it's we need to sort of just keep on adapting and keep on moving and providing what we need, what's necessary, and what we need to, right? Just staying with the climate. So it's really it's tough to say like this and this, but on the immediate end, it's what's on our roadmap. But just moving forward, it's just adapting, growing, just these brand collaborations, just expanding on all that.
And if there's like one brand, like the ideal brand you guys could collab with, what do you think? Like, what would it be?
You mean real life brand?
Yeah, like a Nike, Adidas kind of thing.
I think Nike would be super cool. And that's personal opinion though. You know what? I think
Yeah.
Crocs. I think we should get SVS Crocs. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, we
Oh, rock
definitely
those.
need SBS Crocs X
SVS
Crocs
Crocs.
X Crocs
Crocs
X
X
Sucky Ducky.
SVS. Yes, Skechers. That's a mad one as well. X Crocs, yes. Anyway, thank you so much, Spencer, for your question.
Thank you
and
for
your
answering that.
time. No worries, man. And I think we got one hand up left, Rayon. So let's
Yep, the last one for today, quite well timed. Blaze and Blade.
yes, Blaze and Blades as always.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, good, thanks.
Hello, how are you?
What's up, Blaze?
Doing good. So my question refers to this blood revamping. Obviously, it has major implications for the project. So, first question: it sounds like the team at least has some thoughts on how they might want to move forward, and they're soliciting community suggestions. So the first part of this question is, what are the directions that the team might be leaning towards now? And then the second part of that question, in terms of getting community feedback, other than just a bunch of random people throwing their suggestions in the community suggestion channel, is there going to be a more objective way to gauge the feeling of the community, whether it be voting, etc.?
Yeah, there is on both of those. So the first thing, the way that we're doing it is we do have a direction of how we could see it going, but it's almost like right now we have sort of maybe three plans on how it could go. On one being, where we try and use the system that we have now, but with improvements. Then a second one where we make some improve, for example, like passive staking, or then another one for like an overhaul. So the way we have it now is we sort of know the directions that it can come, but there's almost different levels to it on how extreme we want to go. Like, do we want passive staking, and do we want to give bonuses, and do we want to give people bonuses for providing liquidity, and then do we want to give golds extra blood per day and sparkles extra blood, and then going down the tiers with like shadows and things like that. So we've definitely got like a skeleton of what could happen, but it's almost like we've got a few different plans depending on how extreme we would want to go with it, and that's almost where the community suggestions is coming in, where we're not necessarily looking for people to give us exact direct plans, but we just want to hear the sentiment of, do people like passive staking, or is everyone against passive, or do people want to see the bonuses for providing liquidity and for rares and things like that. But then when we do sort of get closer to knowing exactly what people would want, we would put that proposal forward. So we will make an announcement and let people see, exactly a layout of how it would come in almost like a dot point format, and then there would be open for more discussion before we actually went ahead and implemented that.
Great, thanks. And so I'll just throw out my 2 cents. I am one of the people that's definitely for active staking. I think, I mean, someone can educate me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the main drawbacks to them are cost related due to staking, and of course, having the Vamp in the wallet for integration to other stuff. However, I kind of mirror what Nico was talking about a couple speakers ago. I do think this one has a chance to really, especially if Gen 2 is able to start earning blood, making the value of the blood token really deflated. That's a lot of blood generated a day. And two, I do worry about the number of vamps available on OpenSea. I think the thin floors is a good thing. I know others say, well, there might be an increase in volume because there's rarer, cooler vamps now on the market. However, I think that's generally for people that are already in SVS who want the cooler ones, or know maybe that a sparkle is rarer than a shadow or whatever. So I just I hope we give this a good amount of time to think about, because I think these implications, a lot of people will complain about floor prices and this and that, and I think this type of decision could have significant implications to those questions. And I know that's not a question per se, but I'd love to continue going back and forth with the team and their thoughts and others to. I will admit I do have some trepidations with a passive staking model.
Yeah, and that's definitely why we wanted to sort of put this out there, because like as much as we could come up with the plans like we have ourselves before they get implemented, it's almost where as a team we can't really decide on the exact one, because exactly as you've just labeled out, there are definitely a few major advantages but also major disadvantages to both, almost where like you can't really win in all senses. There are going to be, if we did go to passive, you're going to lose that thin floor and things like you say, but then there are the benefits as well, where I know people were just saying about it in the chat as well, where almost since October now all of the nice looking vamps have been locked up being staked, and it's just the same floor vamps that are being recycled round, and that could be as to why the floor price can take dips, and why volume might drop down as well, because it's almost all the vamps that nobody wants are the ones that are for sale on OpenSea. So there are definitely advantages to if we did go to a passive system, but it's definitely something that needs to be thought out, like you said, and gauge the community sentiment as it is, because there's going to be people people for the passive, but then people like yourself and Nico who are seeing more that side, which we agree with as well.
And just from a cost perspective, especially with gas being so low, I mean, I just staked another vampire. It cost me $20. And in the grand scheme of things, I mean, if you're talking about a one staking fee of $50, I mean, in this space is relatively low. And if that encourages long-term holders, I think that's a price I'd be willing to pay 100 times over.
Yeah,
I
I
won't
think
take any
the
more
cost
time.
is probably one of the smaller things from it now. I mean, when the gas costs were high and it was costing hundreds, then that was definitely a reason why passive would have been better. But I think at this point it is more like you say, it just being if every that I quite like the commitment to be able to stake. If we went to a passive, people could just list, undercut, and things like that. So I think it's more on some of those features rather than the cost at this point as well.
Thanks as always, guys. You're always killing it, and I always appreciate the time you guys take each week with us.
Thank you for coming
Oh,
on.
no worries. Thank you so much. So I think that was a pretty successful AMA, and I think it's time we wrap it up. Isn't that right, Rayon?
Yeah, I think we've timed that pretty well as well, so that's good.
Yep, nice to see a bunch of hands up at the end. So thank you so much for everyone who tuned into this week's AMA. As always, it's a huge pleasure. It's always very fun to do this week in and week out, talk to you guys and make sure everything is progressing as we intend. So from everyone at SVS, bye-bye. Bye, bye-bye,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.